The first question will be, would you tell us a bit about yourself and especially your education and your previous and current work experience?
Okay, basically, I started my entrepreneurship since I was 19 years old. So my entrepreneurship has been for 22 years. So and I completed my degree at the age of 19. And then I completed my master on my age of 23. And now I'm proceeding my PhD from different university now to UCSI. I'm proceeding my PhD in UCSI. And I started since I was 19, I started in fashion industry. And then I proceed into different industry like F&B. Also, I was in the Hong Kong listed company since I was 29 as a consultant. And also be a CEO of a China company when I was age of 29, doing property development, doing hotel development, doing theme parks, doing about 10 different business. Then later, when I came back to Malaysia, I was working with Parkson Group as a CEO for the entertainment, education. And then also to invest into a lot of different business. So currently, I think maybe I have about 20 to 30 companies at this moment doing different kind of business.
Currently 27, so I have been working at FITSI as a studio operation manager for almost 4 years now. So my education background is actually I'm a degree graduate from mass comm. So mass communication is actually a very broad subject. It actually includes a bit of marketing, broadcasting, and also other stuff like journalism and so on. So I landed in FITSI as a studio operation manager. I mean, before this, when I was starting the job, I actually started like a bit of marketing stuff first before getting promoted to be the studio operation manager. Then the marketing, it actually leads a bit to social media handling. So that is like part of what I learned in mass comm, and it is actually quite interesting as well. So I wouldn't say that it's a completely different course from the career at my study background. It still links together. Previous jobs, I would say internship, because during the degree, we do have our own internships, right? But then after the internship, I went and job search, and that's how I landed to FITSI. So I would say those previous jobs experience not a lot other than those part-times and also internship.
Can you tell us a bit about your current business? What its main activity during the pandemic?
Currently, I'm doing a few business as well, but let me talk about Visco, okay? Because one of the companies is Visco. So Visco is basically in the health industry. So when we do this business, we are looking at the angle is that health has been more important. So we need to help to protect in terms of our health. Why I go into this industry and invested quite a lot is because I've noticed that, a lot of health industry, cosmetic, their profit margin is very high. So to me is that I want these people, my customers, to have the best product at the lowest price. That's why we started the own brand, whereby we sell it at a very reasonable price, whereby people have the good quality products.
All right, FITSI is actually mostly focusing on area classes such as area yoga, area hook, and also area pilates. We have 5 different branches. They are located at like Sri Petaling, Cheras, Manjalara, SS2, and also Puchong. Other than that, we also have a sister branch, which is located in Kepong Baru. It's called So Yoga Kepong. They are mainly focusing more towards ground yoga classes and also cardio class. So let's say during the pandemic, when we are still under lockdown, we are mostly focusing on online classes for ground yoga and cardio workouts.
So my question is, how would you describe the company, your company culture in terms of business operation?
I would say that we are very systematic in terms of our operation. We have our own hierarchy system, and every employee actually has their own roles. So we have a boss. So our boss he would oversee the studio online, and sometimes he would also come and visit the studios himself. But then most of the time he will be behind the scenes. That means that he'll be online. And if there is anything that we need to issue, we have a WhatsApp group to issue them. And then most of our customers, they will book online. So the system, everything is handled by the boss, especially the websites and stuff. Next, that will be me. I am the studio operation manager, and my role is actually to also see all the other admins, like how they are doing in their each specific branch. If they have anything they want to issue, or they have anything they want to, any complaints that they cannot handle and stuff, they will all come to me first. And next, we have a yoga instructor manager. So she will be handling all the other. Lastly is that each studios, we have 5 studios. So each studios supposedly have 1 admin. So what does the admin does is that it's more like a part-time job for them. What do they do is that they will handle, it's an individual job. So what they handle is they will help us take photos while the customers are doing poses, and they would also address the issues that customers' inquiries, and they would take daily attendance as well as sanitizing the studios and anything that needs to be done in the studio. They would inform it to us if they need anything and stuff like that.
Okay, the business culture, my company is more work-life balance. First of all, we need a work-life balance whereby, it's not about how many hours they work, it's about how efficient they work. So in our company, we also have online business and offline business. So for the online team, their working time is very flexible. So we have this kind of flexibility and this culture whereby we are more on leadership.
For the next questions, what are the biggest challenges in this job scope, as in this industry means that your job industry, what is the biggest challenge that you have now?
You ask me about challenges, is definitely, of course, about the response and results. Because health thing is not like today you eat, tomorrow you can see respond. It's impossible. You need some time. You need about 6 months to prove it. So when after a few months, some of them have some good testimonial and they have some good comments and more people come in. So it takes some time for this industry. The challenges is about timing.
I would say the biggest challenges was how are we going to actually sustain this fitness business during the pandemic, especially when we are still not allowed to open, right? Before this, we are mainly focusing on physical classes where you pay for a package and you start attending classes at our studio specifically. Because of the pandemic, we are on lockdown. You would think that we can do online classes instead, but the problem is that most of our customers does not have the equipment at home. Equipments, what do I mean by that? Because all our classes are focusing on aerial classes, everything that has to do with aerial. Aerial is like something like flying and stuff like that. You have to have the equipment that is attached to your ceiling. So certain customers, their house ceiling cannot sustain the weight of the equipment. Like what you must have is you must have a cement ceiling. If your house is plaster ceiling or you live in a condo, then it's not very appropriate for them to install the equipment at home.
Question would be, have you ever had to handle difficulties or conflict in your career in terms of human resources management wise?
Okay, in the human resource, that is because, as mentioned, we have doing online and offline business. For offline business, it's still okay because, of course, we're not talking about COVID. We'll talk about once they can come to work, quite stable. We can manage the people, we can talk to them. But people online, you couldn't see them. You don't know what they think. They might be working on and off. And then one issue is that, for example, like live streamers, they might be doing their own things. In the discipline, there's some issues.
The problem is, it's very hard to find staff in terms of that. We did think that it's a job suitable for students because the hours are short, and then most of the timings are in the evening, Saturday, Sunday morning, like that. But then I'm not very sure why is it so hard to find staff in terms of that. Maybe there are students where they apply and then they come and work. But then since they have their own study as well, means after they graduate, they will be going out to their own career choice and so on, then that's where they stop. So normally, the staff-wise, it changes after every few months. So there was a time where we are completely unable to hire staff and we are lacking a lot of staff. As in, like, we have 5 studios, but then we are only able to hire like 1 or 2 of the studios. So leaving the other 3 studios empty, just opening the door and taking pictures and everything, the instructor have to handle it on their own as well.
The fifth question is, does working during the COVID-19 pandemic actually affect your business operation? Like, how does it affect?
Yes, it does actually. Like just previously I mentioned, it affected especially during the lockdown. As we are part of a sports facility, we are granted to open back physical classes a lot later from other essential lines. So since we are focusing more on area classes, like I said before, you will need to have the equipment in order to practice it at home. At first, we did try promoting online for area classes to people who actually have the equipment at home, but majority of the customers does not have the equipment and they are unable to install the equipment at home also. So alternatively, we cooperate with our sister branch, Soul Yoga. So we end up going for online Zoom classes for ground yoga and also cardio workout instead.
Next question, I would say that what is the key motivation for your business to keep going during this pandemic, and what is the key to the business success when we are enriching the endemic itself?
Of course, you say, as mentioned, that this business is about health. When you really can help someone and you see the response, when you see customer response, everyone will be happy. The whole team will be happy because we are doing something supporting and helping the society. And the price is about half price cheaper than those branded items. So, when we do business, the sincerity and we see the response, we are very much motivated, whereby what we do is correct. We are not there to, we wanted to make that health belongs to everyone, rather than rich people only have good health.
Encouragement that I got was that I received a strong encouragement from my boss. There's actually a reason also why I'm working here so long, for like almost 4 years, right? Is that I constantly learn a lot throughout the job. I learn a lot from my boss, as in like stuff that I don't know he's willing to teach as well. And since there are studios from different branches, you actually see a lot of different kinds of people, like maybe Cheras. Different places have different kinds of people. So you learn a lot from people that surrounds you, especially customers. Those regulars, once you get to know them, it's actually quite fun to have a chat as well and get to know each other and so on.
The question is, as a business manager yourself, so what are the best experience that you have gained during the operation during COVID-19 pandemic?
I'll try to do something good. But in online, there might be some people which talk about negative things, sharing some untruth information, where sometimes you see you might be sad. So when people see you're doing well, they will come and attack you. They will give some wrong rumors, wrong information, because they don't want you to grow. They want you just to having some problems, creating problems there a lot, especially online. Okay, of course, offline, there are lesser problem compared to online.
So even though that it is actually quite challenging to sustain during the last few years of COVID era, I would say I learned a lot in terms of patience to actually continue operating this fitness studio. Other than that, since it's a fitness studio, I actually learned a lot in terms of how to take care of myself and others in terms of hygiene and also health. So because FitC, right, those equipments are shared. So we are very particular, especially in sanitizing after every single class before letting the other batch to use the equipments. So mostly just, I would say hygiene-wise and also health-wise.
Next question is, in your opinion, what is the importance of social media for your business? For example, during this COVID-19 pandemic, social media play a big role to every business to grow their business. Do you think what is the importance of the social media?
Yes, like you said, social media plays a very big role in promoting the business, as nowadays almost everything is about social media. At the same time, it was the only platform that we are able to use to reach out and interact with customers other than WhatsApp and emails. Since they have cut off the physical interaction, so social media is the only way where we can promote ourselves and show to others, especially during the pandemics. Our phones are what kept us entertained throughout the lockdown, right? Everybody will be scrolling their phone or looking for entertainments through their phone, social media, and so on. So if we promote it mostly on our social media, there is a higher chance that we are able to get to the customers themselves.
What concerns do you have about your business as we proceed to reopening, recovery, especially continue operation during the COVID-19 pandemic?
Of course, after this pandemic or at this moment, we will start to expand more on offline. Besides offline, right? Besides online, we focus more on offline. So to have more stores, more distribution channel, okay? But the problem is, we do not know how serious this COVID will be. Maybe there could be COVID-23 again, no one knows. So if we invest so much into offline, there might be a risk, suddenly it collapses again. It comes again. There is a high risk. But in the business, we couldn't stop expanding. So it's something stuck there. So it's just like a gambling.
So throughout this pandemic, it's like almost 2 years plus, there's a lot of changes compared to before the pandemic, right? So my only main concern is that will the business actually be the same as before, like before the COVID-19 pandemic, where you don't need to wear masks during workouts and so on, maybe social distancing and stuff like that. Because these are the small things that actually affects the customers as well. Let's say we are currently, it's mandatory to attend class while keeping your mask on. So it actually has nothing to do with shortness out of breath if you're wearing the mask. Since this is going to be a daily basis, like it's going to be a normal thing afterwards and so on.
Next question will be about your product. Why do you think the health benefit of your product are different from other companies that are selling similar product to your product?
When we talk about products, right, we always talk about raw material. Okay, so what our company difference with other companies is that we almost all of our product we import raw material from overseas. So every product we mix with our overseas raw material with our product, because we believe that you cannot compare Malaysian apple and Fuji apple. Your Fuji apple is always more delicious, right? So we buy the best raw material from overseas and mix with Malaysian raw material and produce it in Malaysia. So this is how we make us different and have a better quality, but our price is half price cheaper than the market rate.
Where would the customer find your company details or maybe a product about your details?
Okay, of course, we have our own e-commerce platform, but the most practical is that we're using KOLs, key opinion leaders, while there are a lot of influencers outside promoting for us.
Can you give some words of encouragement for students or people who aspire to become an entrepreneur and develop a business in their future?
I would say if you have an idea, don't be afraid to actually give it a try. It's like if you never try it, you will never know what the outcome is. So this is a quote where I recently heard from someone. It is that there is no such thing as failure. So it is either you win or you learn from your past mistakes.
I just could say that every young people have the chances to be an entrepreneur. Okay, especially in this era, even when you are 18 or 15 or 20 years old, you can be entrepreneur. Anyone can be entrepreneur, and it's much more easier compared to my era. Past 20 years, when I come up for this entrepreneurship, is very difficult. You need capital, and this era you do not need capital. What you need in this era is knowledge, your skill, okay, and the know-how.